say that they're capable of having one drink and be done for them. Most of us have had one drink and stopped, but for some people, they are not capable of stopping. Stopping at that one drink is impossible for them. They have a disease called alcoholism. One drink is never enough. They have to keep going until they can't lift that glass to their mouth anymore. People who have a drink every night are not considered alcoholics. They can choose not to have a drink whenever they want. Alcoholics do not have that choice. It's not a matter of choice. If left untreated, they will keep drinking until they drink themselves to death. The disease makes them dependent on alcohol until the point where they cannot function without it. It's debated whether or not people are born with alcoholism, but that's a different debate. The fact is that alcoholics have a dependency on alcohol. The definition from the National Council of Alcoholism and Drug Dependence states, alcoholism is a primary chronic disease with genetic, psychosocial, and environmental factors influencing its development and manifestations. The disease is often progressive and fatal, characterized by continuous or periodic impaired control over drinking, preoccupation with the drug alcohol, use of the drug alcohol despite adverse consequences, and distortions in thinking, most notably denial. The long-term effects would be cirrhosis of the liver, damage to the brain, sometimes even death. In the beginning stages, it's really hard to tell if someone is actually an alcoholic. They often have a high tolerance to alcohol, so they sometimes end up drinking and driving because no one even knows that they're drunk. Some people think that alcoholics have a choice to stop drinking and they just choose not to. That is not the case. Especially in the late stages, they do not have a choice. They have no control over their drinking and they're not going to stop until they're forced to. One example would be an alcoholic who gets out of rehab, finds their mouthwash in their bathroom and chugs that just to get a taste of alcohol. Some people think that labeling it as a disease is making the one to blame the victim, and that is not the case. Like with any other addiction, you need to have a support system. You need to have people around you to help you to make you stop drinking. Much like diabetes, type 2 diabetes, it stays with you for the rest of your life. You're never going to not be an alcoholic. You are always going to be recovering, and you cannot have another drink. Some of the signs and symptoms of an alcoholic would be drinking alone, making excuses, finding reasons to drink, daily drinking needed to function, inability to reduce or stop their intake, violent episodes with drinking, involved with drinking, drinking secretly, becoming angry when confronted about their drinking, poor eating habits, failure to care for physical appearance, and trembling pretty much all the time, but especially in the morning if they do not have a drink. A lot of times you can spot these signs if you look. A lot of times it's hard to tell, especially in the early stages, but the important thing is to encourage the person to stop no matter how mad they get at you for bugging them about it. One of the things you could say would be, you're drinking a lot and it really worries me, and just keep at them about that. You could always just insist that they do not drink around you, that you don't drink in front of them, and that it's not going to happen. Do not put them down. That will just give them another reason in their mind to drink, and it'll just start the problem all over again. You could also have a formal intervention. A lot of times alcoholics are most receptive to the fact that they need help when they are dealing with the consequences of their drinking, such as if they just got pulled over for drunk driving. Another good way would be to buy them a book about alcoholism. They might not read it, but if they do, it's better than someone else telling them what's wrong with them. They can read it and see the symptoms in themselves. Another thing you could do, it sounds kind of drastic, you could always call the paramedics. The fact that they have to go to the hospital could be a consequence enough to realize that they have a problem. One of the big things that I always stress is, even if the person is not an alcoholic per se, if they've had way too much to drink, do not let them sleep alone. Like, take care of them. Because my aunt ended up dying from the disease. She choked, not to be too graphic, but she choked to death lying on her back. I knew ever since I was a child the difference between my grandpa having his cocktail every night and my aunt sneaking bottles into her bedroom. She tried taking herself into rehab. We tried forcing her into rehab. She ended up losing her job with disabled children because of it. We always figured that, she would hit rock bottom at some point, but we never ever thought that she would die from the disease. I don't want anyone else in this room to get that phone call late at night from the police saying a family member or a loved one has died. So if someone you love has a serious drinking problem or even alcoholism, you can always contact a rehab center around here. There's always AA groups around you can talk to. Or there's also the Holistic Addiction Treatment Program, 866-902-7462.